All right. So we've got some tools for planning that I want to introduce you to. And the first tool that I want to introduce you to is the list. Lists are actually fantastic. I love lists. I showed you that I have a list. Well, I've used my calendar to record birthdays, but actually, I have notebooks full of lists. I use sticky notes to keep track of lists and things that I need to remember to tell you, things I need to remember to do on the announcements when we're at school, things that I need to remember to include in my next class, in my next lesson plan. I've got lists for things I need to do with my kids. I've got lists for stuff I want to do to become a better photographer. I have tons of lists, and one of my favorite tools for lists, because I've always got it with me, is my phone. And you could do this on your phone too. Many of you have cell phones. There are lots of apps for lists. My favorite is called To Do by Microsoft. It's just a great. It used to be called Wunderlist, but then Microsoft bought them and they became To Do. But To Do is really an awesome app. If you're looking for an app for your phone, I highly recommend it. However, the old scratching in the sand is also pretty doggone good for keeping a list. If you have ever been into my office, and hopefully you haven't been very often, because when you visit the principal's office or the assistant principal's office, it's not always good. But if you've been into my office, I have whiteboards in front of my desk. And if you've been into Dana's office, she also has whiteboards. And I am infamous for coming in with markers and just starting to make lists on whiteboards. Because, yesterday, do you remember yesterday I had a blue marker and it was awful? I think I got it again. I don't know what's up with the blue markers around here. I love whiteboards for lists. I kind of wish that all of my walls in my office were whiteboards so I could just put lists all over them. But I want you to understand from me today. One of the things I want you to really understand from me today is what makes a list work. Like, why do we use lists? Well, they generally work because they're kind of short, and visually they look good. It's like a little bits of information that I can easily digest. On the browser here, you see the making lists list, and note that they start with bullets. We call those bullets. They could be a dot, could be a star. You might even have you might have, an eyeball. You might have different kinds of bullets depending upon what you put on your list. I tend to use asterisks. I like the asterisk. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, if you're using paper or notebooks or something, that you come up with some system that works for you, some system of bulleting your list. Stars could be things that are important. Eyeballs, something I've got to be sure to show someone else. This is important. Asterisk and dots are just kind of, for me, just sort of routine things that are on the list that I put with stuff that's not too special, a dot or an asterisk. Special enough for the list, but I don't need to heighten it. I don't need to elevate it to anything more important. So let's take a look at what this list has on the browser. They're easy to do, that's for sure. You just jot down a few words. They bring order to chaos where things seem crazy, with remote school. It's kind of easy to make, you can bring some order to that chaos by making a list. What would be something that we need on our remote school list? If we were live streaming right now, I'd be asking you to drop some stuff into the chat, but we're not. So I'm going to try to anticipate some stuff that you might tell me. Well, what's super important is I need to know my schedule. Now, I actually had about 5 of you email me today and ask if we had achievement. So, and my answer to all 5 was the same thing. Have you checked your schedule? It's in your email. So, because I know because I emailed them all out. I emailed out 439 schedules last weekend. So check your school email. If you haven't, then you can email me and I'll tell you how to check your email. All right, if you've never logged into your email, I can help you with that for the first time. But if you're trying to bring order to the chaos of remote school, number 1, know your schedule. Number 2, know your course. And on Schoology, that's the part right here. These are all the courses. I have 4 of these achievement courses because I teach it 4 times a day. You'll only have 1. But know your course, and when you, this is where I wish I had another, I'm going to put star because this is important. Know what time and day. Where do you get that information? I hope you're saying right now, my schedule. Yeah, that's where you get it. Get the time and day from your schedule. So you'll know if we have a live stream or not. Your schedule will show Friday you have achievement. But I've already announced in classes that we only have 2 live streams a week, Monday and Wednesday. Unless there's something really special going on, there won't be a live stream Friday. You'll just check in. There might be a video to watch, something to help you with the big assignment of the week. But generally, I don't do a live stream. I want that Friday to be a day for you to get caught up. If you need a live stream, you can always tell me, Mr. Moser, I really would like to have a 3rd live stream. And if I get enough feedback, maybe I would add a live stream. But that's something for another time. So know your course, know your schedule, know what course you're in, know what time and day your course happens. And I would say something else on my list for making order out of chaos. Where are my assignments? So as I finish this word, think about this. Where are the assignments in achievement class? 2 places you can find them. I'm going to get to those in a minute. See if you can think of the 2 places where you can find your assignments before I'm finished this word. Where are my assignments? All right. 1. Where's the first place? There are 2 places. This may not be the first place, but it's one of the 2 places. One of the 2 places is always here in the story of the day. All right? This is Wednesday's lesson. Monday was Monday's lesson. You can always find your assignments in the day's lesson. Second place. Where is the second place you can find your assignments? Always. 2 words. I hope you're thinking the same 2 words I am. One starts with R, one starts with D. I'm going to bring it up. No, it doesn't start with D. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of the word R, and the second word starts with an F. RF. All right, what am I thinking of? Where's the second place you can find your assignments? If your answer was the red folder, you were right. Always in the red folder that says, do these assignments today. That's the second place to find your assignments. So that's my list for bringing some order out of the chaos. Find my schedule, know what time and day my course meets, know where to get my assignments, these 2 places. I guess the last thing is, when do they due? When are they due? In this class, I want you to get those green checks. I put the green checks on there. I don't put due dates for the assignments because I'm an old school gamer. And when I play games, I like to go through the levels and I like to collect all the collectibles, whatever they are. I like to get all the completes. So I'm kind of sharing that love I have with gaming with you, and I want you to get all the checks for the course. So I don't have due dates on the assignments, but I just want you to know that they're all due Friday, all right? Friday. Every week, try to keep up, try to get everything done by Friday. Is that in the stream? Is that on camera? I hope so. All right, so that's kind of the list. This is a quick list to bring order to the chaos of remote learning, all right? And part of the assignment after you've set your goal is to think about the steps you will take to reach it. And then you're going to make a list of those steps, all right? Remember my list to bring order to the chaos of remote learning? You're going to have a similar list. Your list is going to be broken down into steps, at least 3. You're going to have at least 3 steps, all right? 4 things I want your list to have, at least 3 steps. I want your list to name specific actions you can take. So I'll meet my goal. If that's on your list, that's not specific. I'll meet my goal. That's not really an action. It's not an action. It has to be an action you'll take. An action you could take to, an action you could take on this, I was going to write it down, but I don't want to write it down because I'm just going to talk about it. It's up to you to write it down. An action you could take to meet this goal, the goal of improving the score on your discussion question, would be to read the discussion question carefully. All right, that's something that many of us didn't do last week. We didn't read the discussion question carefully. That's top of the list. Read the discussion question carefully. Number one step, probably. Does your list name these actions in a sequence from first to last? Okay. I'm going to open the discussion question. I guess I got to do that first. That's on my list. I'm going to open the discussion question. I'm going to read it carefully. I'm going to write my response in my notebook first. I'm going to practice. I'm going to open the discussion question. I'm going to read it carefully. I'm going to practice answering it in my notebook. 3 steps right there. 4th step, I'm going to reread my answer and ask myself if I've answered the question. So I'm going to open the discussion question. I'm going to read it carefully. I'm going to practice answering it in my notebook. I'm going to reread my answer to see if it answered the question. I'm going to submit my answer. There it is. 5 steps. Now you also have a step. Part of your goal will be to respond to classmates, right? But I'm going to let you figure out the steps there. If you want to get some points for responding to your classmate, I'll let you figure out those steps. So that's it. 4 things that I'm going to look for in your list. Is your list should have at least 3 steps. Does your list name specific actions you can take? I'm going to read the discussion question carefully. That's a specific action I can take. Does your list name these actions in a sequence? Yep, I'm going to open the assignment. I'm going to read the assignment. I'm going to practice my answer. I'm going to reread my answer, and I'm going to give my answer. Those all happen in a sequence. They're not all mixed up. Finally, is your list broken down into smaller steps that all lead to your success? Small steps. I think in my example, they were small steps. I didn't just say, I'm going to give a better answer than I did last week. That's kind of one big chunk. I'm going to give a better answer because I'm going to read the question carefully. I'm going to practice my answer, and I'm going to reread my answer. I'm going to do 3 things instead of just 1. 3 little steps instead of 1 big one. This is the rubric that will help you figure out how many points you're going to get on this assignment. You get 25 points if your list looks like a list with bullet points and has at least 3 steps. Now, when you type in and submit your response, you should be able to use bullet points. There should be a little bullet point button to push. If you can't push that bullet point button, use an asterisk. Use something to let me know that you're making a list. And then I'm going to look for baby steps. I'm going to look for actions. I'm going to look to see if it's in sequence. And if you did all those things, you're going to get 100 points on this question. All right? Don't answer here in the comments. That's not where your list goes. Your list goes up here. Mine says submissions, but yours will say submit assignment. That's where you're going to make your submission. That's where you're going to knock this thing out of the park. All right? So that's all I've got for today. Both of these assignments can be found in the Do These Assignments Today folder. 2 of them. Do these assignments today and tomorrow. That way, when the discussion question comes out Friday, you're ready for it. All right? I do hope that all of you will have a great time in the rest of your classes today. And as for now, I think that I'm out of here. Have a great one, kids. I will see you soon, I hope.